Hello, hello. Testing, testing. Is this thing on? Hello, friends. Oh my gosh, I'm so behind today. Welcome to the live stream. Yikes. You probably won't be able to, folks won't be able to come on for a few minutes because I just made this event, but you're here. Hello. So happy to see you. Does my mic sound okay, Free Spirit? Hello, hello. Does my mic sound okay? How's it going? If you're watching the replay, thanks for watching the replay. This is interesting. It doesn't show the YouTube viewers, but oh well, it is what it is. If you're watching the replay, hello, and thank you for watching the replay. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for the mic check, Free Spirit. I appreciate it. So how are you today? How are you guys doing today? Let me know how you're doing. I'm so happy to be back with you. It is, Tuesday. I want to do this like we always do, regularly during the week, where we just do a Q&A and then I have a lesson. So I have a lesson today about 4-part system to stopping food cravings. Hello, Amelia. Hello, Facebook user. So happy to see you. Free Spirit is here. Excuse me. Hello. How are you doing today, Diane? I'm doing very well, thank you. Yes, doing well. So excited to talk to you. I love talking to you folks. 4-part system for stopping food cravings. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit. We're also going to talk about, just as always, any questions that you might have. I would be so happy to answer them. Pamela says, hello, Eat to Live family. I've missed you, Sherry. I feel really happy and fantastic. Lots of joy. I'm so glad. And you just joined, right, Pamela? I'm so happy. Or you're going to join very soon. You're going to join the family. So give me the one-word feeling that you're feeling right now. Hello, Lisa. Hello, Charlene. Free Spirit says, doing well. Join the family today. Yay. I'm excited, but also craving chocolate. Hey, this is the human condition. Excited and craving chocolate, right? I think Moo is begging to come in. Hold on, folks. One sec. Come on, Moo. I'm going to pretend like I'm giving her treats. So she comes in and then the other cat comes out too. And then I'm like, haha, suckers. They just had lunch. So hello, Melissa. What is your one-word feeling, everybody? How are you doing? What is that one word you're feeling right now that's not about your day, but about what you're feeling right now? What is the emotion that you're feeling right now? And let me know also if you have any specific questions, because we just finished we have a, Melissa says tired. I know that one. This woman here says excited. I wonder why she's excited. Guys, this is my mom, of course. She's coming to visit right now. She's in Chicago, I believe she said. So I'm so excited. When Isabella gets up from her nap later tonight, did I tell you, Mom, that we're going to pick you up with Isabella? We are going to do that. So when she gets up from her nap, we're going to come get you at the airport. So she's going to be with us for a few days because it's the twins' birthday tomorrow. Oh my gosh, they're 1 year old already. What the heck? So we got some fun stuff going on. Pamela says, joy and contentment. I love that. And she says, yes, in a day or two, too. She's going to join the Eat to Live family. So that's really exciting. Free Spirit says, joyful. Oh, I like it. Lisa says, thankful. I love that one, too. Patty says, yay, about coming to Vegas. We're very excited about that. So let's talk today about 4-part system to stopping food cravings. Oh, we've got a bad headache, trying to quit coffee again, and I need help with that sugar. I get it. And this is a journey. We're just giving the things up as we can, the best that we can. And that's what the family is there for, Charlene. I know you're in the family, so that's what we're here for, is to help you. And other people, go through the same thing too, but really so much of it, it's interesting with caffeine and sugar even sometimes, but with caffeine, it's tough because you actually have a very physical withdrawal, right? With the headaches and all that. So sometimes I might say wean off of it, right? A cup or less and less and less per day kind of a thing, but sometimes it doesn't help. I know, a year already. How did they get to be a year old? It's insane. Oh no, you feel food poisoned. That is not a good feeling. I'm so sorry you feel that. Ugh. I hope you feel better really soon. Diane loves coffee. I'm sure we got some coffee fans in here. Yeah. What about decaf? That's a possibility too. It's funny, whenever I talk to clients about giving up coffee, they're always like, why would I do decaf? Not whenever, but like sometimes clients are like, why would I do decaf? Right? Because the whole point of the reason, and this is funny actually. So I was coaching a client 2 weeks ago on this exact thing. And she, we were talking about giving up coffee. Does she want to give up coffee? How much does she want to drink? All that. So we're going through, how does the idea of black coffee sound to you? And she's like, well, I used to drink black coffee. And I'm like, well, 1 cup per day, black coffee is fine. Do you want to do that? And she was like, well, I'll try it. So she reported back the next week and she was like, yuck, not good anymore. And we were talking about what actually was it that she got out of coffee. So think that to yourself, right? Like, what is it that you actually get out of it? So some of it is caffeine, so you get a pick-me-up, right? Meaning it's as if you don't trust your body to wake up, right? It's as if you don't trust your body to, like, using another substance to feel something is, this idea that we can't be without it kind of a thing. So can we wake up without coffee, right? So if it's just for the wake up, usually it's not. So when I was coaching this client, we were talking about what is it that you get out of the coffee? And we whittled down over, several sentences that it's comfort, it's routine, it's ritual, it's tradition, it's warmth, and it's so fun because with this client as well, yes, it's social as well. It can be social. With this client, it was so fun because we got down to something that I don't really think she kind of saw this before she was thinking about. She had a thought that having coffee felt like adult. It felt like an adult thing to do, a thing that grown-ups do, right? And she actually hasn't been drinking coffee for that very long. And it was just interesting to kind of uncover that and discover that really there was something in there also that gave her a feeling of sophistication or adulthood or something. Now, mind you, my client is, I want to say 65, 70 years old, something like that. And we still want to have that adult feeling, the grown-up feeling, right? And I love that because underneath our habits and underneath the things that we do all the time are thoughts. Thoughts create feelings, feelings create actions. So the thought was, I like the ritual, I like the comforting warmth, the sweetness of the sweetener, the creaminess of the creamer. I like to feel more adult and whatever. And when we kind of whittle that down and look at it for what it is, instead of just, oh, I'm just having coffee or I'm just addicted to coffee, right? But when we whittle it down for what it is, it's so fascinating to see that there's so much desire for emotion actually from coffee. So it's a tall order for coffee, right? Like, coffee, can you please make me feel adult? Can you please make me feel like a grown-up? Can you please make me feel comforted and, all that from a substance, right? And we do this with all of the foods, with sweets, with candy, with ice cream, with carbs and bread and pasta and things like that. I was talking to a client a long time ago who has a Haitian background, and she used to talk about the meat that she would eat, like the chicken and chicken stews and things like that, as being the same exact thing, like not for the sort of grown-up thing, but for that feeling of comfort. And it's so fascinating because for me, I would never find a chicken stew to be that comforting. But for her, that was her version of chocolate cake from me, right? It's so interesting what we ask of food, what we ask food to do for us. So Melody says, yes, I know that adult one. Just enjoy the taste, right? Pamela says, it's my morning quiet time and peaceful ritual habit. Yeah. Charlene says, I love black coffee. I feel coffee doesn't do anything for me anymore. Yes, all that. Sherry, comfort, warmth. The less music. I haven't had coffee since I was 15, a long time ago. I know, same here. I don't really drink coffee Pamela, I usually put a teaspoon of sugar. Now I'm cutting back to a quarter teaspoon in my coffee per day. Going to try matcha. Matcha, yummy. This I didn't know. Decaf is worse for the body. I didn't know about that. Oh no, you ate expired snap peas and that caused your, ugh. Yikes. Good luck with that. I hope you feel better. Facebook user says, I drink Black Dandy Blend. Okay. And no sugar for a Diane. Yeah. So we got some coffee drinkers in here, but I love this idea of whittling down to what are the thoughts behind it? Like, why are we actually doing it? What do we need out of it? Right? What are we looking for out of that habit? Adele says, I stopped coffee about 2 months ago, feeling better and sleeping better too. I love that, right? Because you don't necessarily think of the things that you're getting, but you don't necessarily think things you're missing out on because of that habit, right? It's like you think of the comfort, you think of all that, but you don't think of the stuff that you miss out on. That's great. Melody says, I enjoy the taste, not so much for the buzz, the ritual, only in the morning, 2 cups. Okay. Yeah. And with any habit, we weigh the pros and cons, right? And that's the whole idea here is weigh the pros and cons. What are the cons? What are the pros? Yeah, it's comforting in some sort of strange way. I mean, it makes sense, right? It's warm, it's ritual, it's all that. But we want to really look at what do we get out of it? And not just the good stuff, as Adele kind of, pointed out. What are the bad stuff? What's the bad stuff that we get too? And how can we make choices for ourselves that give us all the things we actually want, right? So you guys are probably noticing my awesome board back here. I always do this every time we open the Eat to Live family. I haven't updated this since yesterday. So this was only in like the first 10 hours we had this many people join. And now we're up to I think this is what's the math? I don't want to do math on camera, but 7 times about 5, that's about 35 people. We have over 50 people in here now. So this is actually like this many people. I have to update this and I will really soon. But these are the folks who have joined the Eat to Live family on this opening, and we are in the middle of an open registration period for the Eat to Live family. If you're wondering what the family is, it's a monthly group coaching program. It is chock full of amazing materials that will help you on your weight loss journey, if that's what you're interested in, and also on your healthy eating journey. So if you're interested in Eat to Live, you don't have to be a nutritarian to join. We have people from all ends of the spectrum just wanting to eat healthier, right? So you don't have to be a nutritarian. We just had someone join yesterday who mentioned that she watched all the live calls I did last week, and she hadn't joined we have opened twice before, and she hadn't joined on either of those launches because she was worried that she wasn't nutritarian enough. And she finally joined this time because she realized you don't have to be a nutritarian to join, just sort of, it's about healthy eating. So we can get you anywhere on that spectrum and help you get to whatever version of how you want to eat. So that was really fun to see that we have a new member who, had that story, and she changed her story and jumped on board with us. So we have, in the Eat to Live family, it's a lot of like my digital coaching program. So I have the Eat to Live Academy, which teaches you all of the mindset foundational tools. And then we have actual coaching too, where I do monthly group coaching calls with y'all, and I do like hot seat style, where it would be me and you would be next to me on Zoom, and I would be coaching you on one specific issue, and we would get to the bottom of it, like my client with the coffee, right? And anything under the sun. I can coach on anything under the sun. I'm a certified life coach, so I coach all the different things. And the reason that I'm a certified life coach is because our food issues have nothing to do with the food. Right? I don't know if you noticed that, but our food issues have everything to do with our emotions and the way that we handle our emotions and the way that we handle our thoughts. And so when we know how to cope better, we know how to eat better, and that it all goes hand in hand. So we find ways to cope better with whatever is going on in life, and we will, come out the other end. That sounds weird, but come out the other side being more confident and having better coping mechanism so that we don't turn to food all the time for that comfort and for the change and all that. And then our weight naturally goes to where it needs to go, and everything's great. And we're on our way towards Eat to Live. And so in a coaching program, why do we hire private coaches? Coach Nancy is our private coach in the Eat to Live family. Why do we even join a coaching program? Because we want to get to our goals faster. Because we realize, and I know this for a fact, that any one of you watching this can get to the stuff I'm talking about, like the weight loss and the healthy eating and all that. You can get to that by yourself for sure. But if you want the fast track, that's what we do when we do coaching. Just think of like a basketball player or something. Like, where would the Bulls be without whoever their coach was? Phil something. I can't remember his last name, but any kind of coach just helps a player hone what they already have. A coach helps someone find what's already inside themselves, which is the potential for growth, the potential for change. And a coach helps you hone that quicker, right? They see something in you and they go, you know what, you got this quality and you should play it up and you should work on this. And here's how you can make it better, right? That's what a coach does. That's what I do. That's what Coach Nancy does. And we just try to get you there faster. So that's what we do in the Eat to Live family. So I'm going to, leave this open for questions. So feel free to ask any question that you guys want. While, we kind of got off the topic a little bit there with coffee, but that's great because that one comes up a lot too. But if y'all have any questions about like what's going on in your life or what you're struggling with or anything, it doesn't even have to be food related, right? Just what are you struggling with that's throwing you off? I'm happy to help you with that stuff today. But what we're going to do is just go ahead and talk about the 4-part system for stopping food cravings for good. And let's get into it. So let me just make a note real quick and then we will start. So I'm going to give you a second to write down some questions. If you have any, think of some questions. And because I'm thinking maybe I'll just put my iPad up like I did before. Hold on one sec. Okay. I'm going to add a bonus in here. Okay. So I am going to put I think I'll put my iPad up because I know how to do it now. Might as well. All right. Let me close out my old workshop stuff and we'll just open this one up. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to bring them up. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I need to put the link for the family registration, info.thewateringmouth.com. Excuse me, I need water, but it's over there. I'll have to get it in a sec. Join the family. So info.thewateringmouth.com/join the family. I just put that in the comment section there, and I'm going to try to, I can't pin it from here or anything, but so if you guys want to see in the comment section, there is the link that you can go to join. I'm also going to put this up on the banner as well real quick. So got some questions coming in. So feel free to ask any questions you want and I will get to those today. I'll be around for an hour today. What does this do? Let's see. It says ticker. Oh, cute. It makes a little ticker. Look at that. That's cute. info.thewateringmouth.com/join the family. If you go there, you can join right now. And yeah, that's the place to go. I'm going to make that not a ticker because I think that's probably kind of distracting. But I'll put that up anyway. So info.thewateringmouth.com/ let me see if I can do my weather girl thing. info.thewateringmouth.com/join the family. Hey. All right. So let me look at this. Hello, Stacy. So good to see you. This one, Lauren. Okay, so I'm struggling with finding the foods necessary. Fresh food goes bad quickly here, so I have to be on the ball with prepping. I'm interested to know what you mean when you say fresh food goes bad quickly here. What does that mean, right? Because we have refrigeration. Is it because the food takes so long for transit time and, you live in a remote area or something like that? What does that mean fresh food goes bad quickly here, so I have to be on the ball with prepping. Lauren, are you on that island? What island are you on? You're on a small island and it's tough okay. I think you're the one who has the issue, right? With the living on the island. So yeah, the Caribbean, right? So I imagine you have a pretty warm climate, right? And I know also you have the challenge of it's tough to find foods because you have to go to a certain area to get, like, have to drive quite a distance or something to get to the food to buy it, right? That is tough. And if anyone has any suggestions, help me out here, because this one is tough. Because my suggestions would always be, can you shop more frequently? But it's tough because that's far away. Can you grow your own food at all? Right? I mean, you live in the Caribbean, right? So you have decent weather. Can you grow your own food? I'm thinking specifically about those standing. What are the names of those things? I forget what they're called, but like a standing thing where you can grow your own herbs or lettuces. Yeah, so Lauren says, drive to all of the grocery stores and pray between all of them that I can get what I need. Hard and hot weather. So, my thought would be, first of all, can you grow some of your own? Do you have a place on your land to do that? Or if you live in an apartment, can you at least have a place with some direct sun where you can maybe do one of those towers or several of those towers, get some earth boxes, right? Pamela mentions indoor greenhouse. Our growing season is November, April, or May. I mean, there is a lot of things that you can do as far as growing stuff and then freezing it, right? It's not as helpful for salads and things like that, but there must be, and the way I think of it is like, when we have these challenges, there's one mindset, which is, oh my gosh, this is so hard, I can't do it. And then there's one mindset, which is, this is an interesting challenge, I wonder how I'll succeed, right? You see the difference there? Like the one that's like, this is interesting, I wonder how I'll succeed, creates a feeling of curiosity. It creates a feeling of like, oh, I want to figure this out. This is fun. There must be a solution. Let me figure this out, right? The other one is, woe is me, this is really tough. I can't get this done. I don't know how to do it. That happens and this happens and this happens. And I'm not saying that's what you're doing. I'm just saying one of those thought patterns creates negativity and one creates creativity. And creativity is the one where we create the most change, right? Because we're trying to figure things out and learn things. I wonder if there are people on your island who eat similarly to you, and there's a way that you might be able to work together. I bring this up because I remember reading or hearing Dr. Furman talking about this at one point, about how when he started out, him and his wife were going through so much produce. And so they actually started buying from a co-op, but they would buy with many other people. And so, or a bunch of other people. And so they would buy like wholesale tons and tons of produce, and it would be way too much produce for them, but then they found other people to share it with. So they were able to afford it much easier when they were first starting out, kind of a thing. Do you see that creativity there that comes up? So I don't know what your solution is, but I do know, and this is for everybody, not just Lauren, but I do know that when we're creative, that's when we come up with stuff that's like, oh, I would have never thought of that. We do have some other folks who live on islands, obviously, who do this lifestyle as well. We have people in the family. We also have people that I've just, come across in the audience as well. And it really is, you have a very creative place to live. And so there must be some creative solutions, right? Community co-ops. Yeah, my mom mentions a cooler with ice. Is that available? It might be tough to do the ice thing, but yeah, I mean, to be able to have some extra storage space where, like, I know, for instance, this one actually reminds me of Coach Nancy, because I remember she went on a road trip one time, and she brought her salads and her smoothies all done. This was actually the first time she did one of the 21 day, like the ones that I made, January 2019. Because she's our challenge creator now, the recipe creator. And she had a cooler with ice in her trunk. She had made all her salads, put them in big bags. They were all pre-chopped. And then she had all her smoothies made. And so for 3 days, she was just eating out of a cooler. And she said they were totally fine. Like, it went fine. There was no problem with it. Just the coolers had to be stocked with ice, but you could get ice or whatever. And that was a really that was really cool for me to hear that, she was so creative about it and it worked. She stayed on challenge and she was on a road trip the whole time and it wasn't a problem. So yeah, ice lasts long when not open. I've noticed that as well, like on road trips and stuff. We have to be as creative as we can be here. Yeah, we have no choice, but that's great. That's really fun because what are the positives of that? You live in the freaking Caribbean, right? Like that's so cool. It's such a cool opportunity is the way I like to. This is what I was looking. This word is the Aero Grow system. Don't know if it's available where I live. You can Google it, but maybe you can have one of those sent to you where you can grow some of your own. You might be able to do a cooler or something like that, right? Where, if it's just because then it's about, can you prep a few days in advance and, looking at that creatively. I have to transport my groceries from the main island over to my little island that has no stores. Yeah. So there must be some type of creative way to go about this. So I challenge you to get creative. Okay. Oh yeah, Dela says even small pot gardening or freeze-dried foods can keep on the shelf. That's so true. Sealed up to 25 years until ready to use. All the nutrients are preserved. That is very, very true. Microgreens. Microgreens. That's a huge one, Pamela. So true. Microgreens grow easily indoors. Yeah, those are so simple to do. You can get some really, really good greens that way. I just imagine Lauren's house. I don't know what your house looks like, but now I just imagine your entire house filled with microgreens. Let's see. Okay. So Chris says, how about freezing and having more smoothies and then a bean dish for dinner? Smart, right? Because then if you can freeze stuff, yeah, Jillian also mentioned that sprouting and cabbage lasts for a long time. Oh, that's so smart. And guess what? What is the cheapest, highest antioxidant food? Red cabbage. So easy, so high in cruciferous things and antioxidants and all that. Red cabbage could be your best friend if you can find those for sure. Okay, let's see. Amelia says, I told my kids I'm moving from our home because with them around, I have a hard time to follow my diet. Yeah, that is the struggle of so many, isn't it? Okay, so. Oh, I would just have to mention this. So Chris asked, are there challenge materials in the family? Yes. And can you give a synopsis of what is in the membership? Of course I can. So in the Eat to Live family, when you join, you get a quick start program, which is about 3-4 hours worth of content to tell you exactly how to start in the exact program that you need to start losing weight immediately and your own protocol and creating your own journey. So I tell you exactly what you have to do that. That's the quick start program. We have a longer success path, which takes you from novice beginner to extremely advanced. And I tell you all the milestones and action items that you need to do in order to get to that advanced level. And advanced is like lost all your weight, at your healthy nutritarian weight, very confident, no more food issues, stuff like that. So wherever you start out, over to there, that's the success path that I take you on. And that includes the Eat to Live Academy, which is an 8-week digital coaching course. So I created that back in the beginning of 2020. So you have access to that, which is a $497 product. I sold that over 100 times for $497. And I just give you access to that. It's crazy. So you get that. You get 2 coaching calls with me live per month. That's what's guaranteed, 2 coaching calls. And those are like what I was saying, the hot seat coaching, where I will bring you on with me and you will come on to coaching and it's in front of the group, but we'll coach on whatever you want, any kind of life issue you have, and help you to understand how to eat healthy and how to lose weight and all that. And the power of these group coaching calls is just incredible. Because when someone else gets coached on something, you always find things that you relate with, and it creates such a sense of solidarity amongst the participants, but also just knowing that you have similar issues to someone else, and you can hear the response for that, and you can learn so much that way. And also, I want you to think of the Eat to Live family. It is like Facebook, but only for the Eat to Live family. So it is its own social network on something called Mighty Networks. So when you sign in, it's very similar to Facebook, where it has a feed and everyone's talking to each other and posting and helping and supporting. And Nancy and I coach there as well. And then you have in the sidebar, you have all the courses. So there's the academy, there's the quick start program, there's all these different things. We have our own BMI calculator and all these different things. And then we have a recipe book. We have just a family only recipe book. We have all the challenges in there, starting from February of this year going forward. And we're going to be doing 21-day challenges every quarter just in the family. So that's only going to be for the family members. So every quarter you will get a 21-day challenge, as we had been doing them before. You get that in the Eat to Live family. And so, by the way, anyone who's in the family right now, we were going to this 5-day challenge thing, and we're still going to do that for the public every once in a while. I think maybe every other month or every quarter, just a 5-day challenge. But in the family, you're still going to get free included 21-day challenges. No one else will get access to those. Those are just for the family. So in the family, included in your membership is a quarterly 21-day challenge, and we're going to all do those together. That's going to be really fun. So by the way, family members, that's something that we just decided on our meeting today. And thanks, Melody. Have a great day. And then we have lots of other things too. Like Coach Nancy, she also does her own coaching calls too. And those are bonuses. And so we don't really talk about that, but it's so nice because she does like office hours where you can ask her any question and then she can coach you as well. We have a private coaching program that you can add on as well, which is the best pricing we've ever offered for private coaching. And that's with Coach Nancy. She has so many clients right now. That is the place. So you get into the family and then you can do the private coaching, do the academy, all these things together. And that is the fastest way to get to your goals. And what else? Then I do every once in a while, I do some bonus calls as well on like spot coaching on different things. I also want to be adding master classes in at some point. I don't have time for that right now, but I do want to do that very, very soon for the family as well. But there's always a bunch of bonuses in there as well as bonuses from Coach Nancy coaching. And then I do some bonuses on very specific things that if someone is struggling on something really big, then I'll do a bonus coaching call on that as well. So there's so much content in there, and there's just going to be more and more as we go. And you have access to every previous coaching call we've done in the past as well. Those are all in there. And the workshop that I did last week, those are all in there as well. So in the family, you just get so much stuff. It's crazy. And Adele says, I enjoy the love notes from Coach Nancy, the nutrient nuggets, and the daily check-ins too. Oh, yes, right. I forgot about the daily check-ins. Yeah, so the love notes are, that's a Coach Nancy thing where she goes and gives you a really in-depth look at one tiny little topic. It really expands your understanding of it. And then I forgot about the daily check-ins. That's our accountability program. So every day there's a daily check-in. Go and check in any way that you want to check in about your weight loss or your journey or whatever. And it sort of keeps you accountable a little bit too. So that's fun. And the nutrient nuggets, we just do like educational posts and stuff as well to keep you on your game and keep you really looking at nutritarian things. We don't talk about the cost on live videos because the cost is going to change and this video will be around forever, but you can just go straight to that website, which is info.thewateringmouth.com/join the family, and you can find out right there right now. But I'll tell you, it's very affordable. It's like a gym membership kind of cost, but you can think of it like a gym membership for your mind. Okay. So, Jackie says it is so affordable and you get so much for your money. Definitely well worth it. Thank you, Jackie. She's one of my former clients and now a family member, and I just love her to death. Let's see, not to death. Well, I will love you to death. I promise. Jackie. Are all of my yummy salad dressings easily found in one spot? So we actually have our own private Eat to Live family recipe book in there. And we have all added our favorite dressings in there. So there's tons of dressings in there. Oh, yay. Chris says so much content. I'm joining. Yes, it's like, Chris, I'm so excited, but also I have to say, like, it is crazy how much I put in there, like actually crazy. I always kind of think like, wow, I should not be putting this much in there, but you know, it is what it is. And I want you to join because it's totally amazing. Oh, and I forgot, Adele, you're reminding me of all the things that are in there. I totally forgot. This is one of the best parts, actually. The weight loss vlogs, I totally forgot about those. So I am doing my own weight loss vlog to tell you exactly how I'm losing the weight after the birth of my twins. So I've lost like 23, 24 pounds now. And I have done a whole vlog series, like over 100 clips, so many videos in there since October 5th, telling you exactly how I'm losing the weight and the mindset shifts that I'm doing and how that's happening for me. We go really, really behind the scenes and my emotions and the things that are happening in my life. And there's actually an example of that. I think I have an example of it in one of the emails coming out this week about the family launch. So that's also really, really awesome. Oh, look at this. That is worth the price of admission many times over. Oh, I'm so excited. Thank you for that. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy how much content I put in there. Oh, I have to get to my lesson real quick. There's so many questions today, which is totally awesome. And I'm not mad. I just want to get to the lesson too today. So let me open up this thing I have to do in order to get my iPad hooked up. I wasn't sure that I was going to use it, but now I'm sure. So the Eat to Live family is open right now. If you want to join, it's only going to be open for another couple of days. So you have to make sure that you join now because we're going to close it and we're not going to open it again for a little while. Okay. Why is this not working? Of course, it's not working when I want it to. Maybe if I can't figure it out, then we won't be able to do it. But it doesn't really matter because it was just a quick thing I wanted to say. Okay, I can just show you actually on the screen. So I'm just going to tell you, you guys are just going to have to take notes today because this is going to be too hard to hold up and whatever. But so we're going to talk about the 4-part system for stopping food cravings. Okay. And I want you to take notes. And I'm going to give you a bonus too. Okay. So let me give you the kind of overview of how this works. So how you actually stop food cravings from the highest view of this, the toppest down, so to speak. What happens is we're learning mental discipline and emotional discipline. That's like the toppest down. Okay. I know that's not a word, but that's the word I'm using right now. From the highest point down, right? Looking down 20,000 foot view. That's what we're talking about here. We are learning mental and emotional discipline. But you don't just go from not being emotionally disciplined to being emotionally disciplined. And I don't mean I'm not trying to make you feel bad about what you're like. I mean, we all do this, right? When we overeat, I always say that 100% of our overeating is due to emotional reasons. 100% of our overeating is due to emotional reasons. Because if we didn't have any desire for a certain emotion from a food, we would not eat it, right? We would not overeat. We eat a certain amount of food to keep us going, but if we ignore how much we actually need and keep eating, that's emotional. That's because we're trying to get something from the food. So it can be as simple as eating something and thinking it tastes really amazing and not wanting to stop, right? You just want to keep going. It's so good. That's emotional. Have a really stressful day at work and we come home and we're so tired and, we just can't possibly make a salad or can't possibly make a second meal because we have to make this meal for our family. We couldn't possibly make a meal for ourselves, right? We're so tired. That's emotional, right? So when we eat that food and we eat off plan, that's emotional eating. All of it is emotional eating, right? So anything that's not nutritarian eating is emotional. So that being said, we all do that. Even I do that. If I didn't do it, I would be at my goal weight already, right? If you didn't do it, you'd be at your goal weight. So then what we have to learn is how to cope with the emotion and not try to cover it up with food. Cope with the emotion and not try to change it with food or augment the emotion with food, that kind of a thing. So we need to try to not deal with our emotions using food. And it's funny because those two things do not equal each other. Food does not equal emotional regulation, right? It doesn't actually change the thing. And it doesn't change the thing that caused the emotion in the first place, especially the stress one, for instance. If we feel really stressed out or tired, the answer to that is deal with your stress or take a nap, not food. Food never helps, right? And in fact, not eating the healthy food actually makes the stress and the tired worse because of the chemical things that happen when we're not getting enough nutrients. Okay, so that's the super, super top-down view. Now, if we get really, really good at dealing with our emotions instead of eating food to cover it up, if we get really good with dealing with the emotions, then there's no need to overeat anymore. So when we teach our brain that we are not an overeater, which takes a while, but when we teach our brain that we are not an overeater, the brain stops serving us cravings. Why? Because the brain is all about efficiency. The brain is all about conserving energy. It's one of its top 3 goals in life. The brain is to conserve energy, to avoid pain, and to seek pleasure. That's what the brain does. So that's what like the primal side of our brain does. So it's always trying to tell us to be efficient. And if you have to imagine now, I don't know if you know this or not, this is really so fascinating to me. The brain uses a lot of calories thinking. Thinking is a very calorie heavy, calorie using heavy activity. That's not the right way to say it, but you know what I mean? Like when we think, we use a lot of calories. Neurons firing, that actual physical activity of thinking, which is neurons firing electric signals in our brain, that takes calories. And so if the brain is like trying to serve us cravings, that's a thought. Those are thoughts. Those are impulses. Those are signals. If the brain is doing that activity and actually burning calories in order to do it, if we get the brain to stop doing that for a while, it's going to be like, why do we serve cravings? Because that takes up too much energy. We're going to stop that. So then we don't have cravings for food anymore because we have taught it to not crave anymore. And so it wants to conserve energy, so it will not serve cravings anymore. Now we're just left with the stress of life, which is normal, right? But now, because we've gotten so good at dealing with cravings and making them disappear because we got really good at dealing with stress, now we're just really good at dealing with stress, right? So anything that comes up, cancer, death in the family, loss of job, global pandemic, these kinds of big things that happen, economic downturn, lost your house, blah, blah, blah. These things that happen then become not the end of the world anymore because we've learned to cope and we don't use food to cover them up. We just deal with the thing, right? We learn to cope with that thing better. Okay. So that's the super, super top down view of how this works. Now, how do we do it? So here's the 4-part system. Okay. Here's this 4-step thing that we do with a bonus step. So number 1, my baby's crying outside and it's very distracting to my mother ears. It's okay. All right. So number 1, yes, right. So Pamela says, this makes perfect sense. Mastering your thoughts and becoming highly disciplined daily equals good habits. That's exactly right. Once we get all that in line, and a lot of people shy away from the word discipline. I used to really shy away from the word discipline because it felt stoic. It felt too stoic. It felt like, oh, that's not going to be fun, right? When in fact, it is what creates freedom. Stay with me here. It creates freedom because when we no longer are shackled to our food cravings, now we get to go do whatever we want. Now we get to be the person we're meant to be because we're not thinking about food 5 hours a day, right? That's what creates freedom. So that discipline actually creates freedom, okay? So when we can learn to manage our emotions and manage our thoughts, that's when we start to rewire that brain. Now, how do we manage our emotions and our thoughts? So here's how we do it. So in a nutshell, I'll give you real quick what this is, and then I'm going to answer some more questions, and we'll be hopefully done in about 15 minutes here. Step number 1, we notice what's happening in our brain. So step number 1 is notice, okay? How we notice is by becoming aware. So for instance, so many clients talk about how they're just unconscious about their eating, right? They're just like totally subconscious. They don't even notice they're doing it. By the time they're done, they've gotten through the whole bag of Doritos and like, whoa, where has the last 10 minutes gone, right? Or just, and we're not even thinking about it. So step number 1 is to become aware of what's happening, to notice actually, ooh, I'm eating a bunch of Doritos again, right? Instead of you're doing it, you're eating, you're chomping. By the time you know it, the bag's gone. Instead of that, you're chomping, going, oh, I'm eating again. I'm binging. I'm totally binging. I don't really need to be eating this. I'm going to stop. Right? So it's noticing first what you're doing. So becoming aware. Step number 2, acknowledge what's happening. Right? So that's part of what I just said. Actually, these first 3 steps are kind of all almost in the same moment, but there is a difference, a subtle difference here. So number 2 is acknowledging what is happening. You sort of notice you're in this space of craving, or you notice you're in this space of overeating, and then you acknowledge it and you're like, okay, overeating again, right? I can see this happening, or I'm craving, or whatever. You acknowledge it in your own mind using your thoughts. Like you're just sitting here, nobody's noticing what's happening. You're the only one doing this, but you're going like, ooh, okay, I'm acknowledging that I'm overeating right now, right? Step number 3 is to name it in your head. So I like to think of naming as sort of acknowledging too. It's like you're naming what's happening, but you're also naming like why. So you're kind of like assessing at the same time. You're sort of naming like, okay, I know that I'm overeating. Like I notice I'm overeating on Doritos. I acknowledge that this is definitely overeating, and I'm naming what's happening. So I'm overeating because I feel stressed, or I feel tired, or whatever, right? So this whole process, this whole noticing sort of 3-step area here, that all happens really quick if you allow yourself that moment to become aware. Now, I like to say that these 3 steps are the steps that occur during the pause. They occur during the actual pause that you give yourself. If you so choose to give yourself a pause, that's where this happens. Because oftentimes what will happen is, as we're just overeating and eating and eating and eating, we don't pause at all in our thoughts. We just let that thing keep going. We let that, we just like, we're watching the TV. You're like, nah, I'm going to just watch TV and eat these Doritos right now until they're all gone. And then I'm probably still going to be craving something else because that, didn't really do it for me. And now I got to go into something else or whatever. If we take that pause just for a second of like, a lot of times what it can look like is just this, like you're sitting here eating and then all of a sudden you're like, ooh. It's that's the pause, right? Nobody else would even really notice it but you. And so it's taking that pause and doing all those things, naming what's going on, acknowledging it, figuring it out, becoming aware, noticing it. Just that thought process right there is what gives you enough pause, okay? Oh, this is okay. So we have to take a moment to hold some space for Susan. What Sherry says is oh so true. I just got news. My sister died today. I'm sorry. I ate a nutritarian dinner and have no plans to go back to standard American diet food. I am now at my goal weight, feeling the pain and knowing no amount of junk food could ever help me deal with this pain. Thank you for sharing that. I want to hold space for you for a moment for this time, because this is life, right? I'm so sorry that this happened, but I feel so honored that you shared with us the way that you dealt with it, right? Because it doesn't matter what happens to us. Just as you said, Susan, feeling the pain and knowing that no amount of junk food could ever help me deal with this pain. Junk food will not bring the sister back, right? That pain is ours inside, and it will not go away until we process it. Now, grief and death and dying have their own timeline, and it's different for everybody, right? So we find ways to deal with this. We find ways to grieve in the way that we're going to grieve, to adjust and to go through this process. But just imagine, can you all see how when Susan shared this, first we have the, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, right? Our condolences. But we have that first thought, like when we watch Susan go through this, it's so easy to see that what she did was, that was self-care. Right? Having the nutritarian dinner instead of the standard American diet food, what she did and what she chose, that was self-care in this difficult time, right? Choosing a nutritarian, and I have so many examples of this in my weight loss vlog as well. Choosing the nutritarian dinner when we're just tired and we just don't want to make it. And my sister just died. I should be allowed to have whatever I want, right? And then you go and eat that food, and then you feel even worse physically. And on top of that, emotionally, it didn't change anything. It didn't fix anything because you weren't working on the root of the issue. You were just covering it up with some food that is going to make you feel even worse, right? Because the root of the issue in Susan's case is just processing the emotion, just processing the event, and whatever that looks like for her. It's a lot of steps, right? But it certainly isn't helped by eating something that doesn't feel good in our bodies, right? Thank you so much, Susan, for sharing. I really appreciate that. And I honor what you shared with us today. And I'm so sorry. Crap. Okay. My deepest condolences, Pamela says. And God bless you, Susan. Our arms are around you for sure. Right. And that's what's so beautiful about what we're doing here and about what we're learning is that we can process emotion. We can process it together, which is so fun. And that's what we do in the Eat to Live family too, right? But it is this processing of emotion, like so importantly. I just want to go back to what I was saying earlier about I hear this one so often. You come home from work and you're just so tired, right? You're just so tired to make this food. You just don't want to make the food. And this is perfect because this actually comes into our number 5 thing, but I have to get to the other thing first. So, I want to mention Adele is repeating this idea that pause button, it is that pause. That pause is so important. That is where everything happens. That's where all your improvement happens in that one little, what's going on here? Oh, this, right? So that pause button brings me to my next point, which is step number 4 of this process. So 1, 2, and 3 was notice, acknowledge, and name. And step number 4 is allow. Now, I'm actually going to go back to Susan's example here because this is actually a really, really great one to illustrate here. Exactly what Susan did. She acknowledged that there was something happening, right? That there was something bigger than food here happening, and that food would not fix the thing. Food would not, as she said, no amount of junk food could ever help me deal with this pain, right? So what she did and what she is doing and what she will presumably do for a little while here is she will allow this event and the emotion of this event to reside within her, right? She will allow the weight of this to be inside of her until it processes through and she is out on the other side of it. And most of us have dealt with a death of someone who was very beloved for us, right? And we know that process takes time. It takes different amount of time for everybody, depending on lots of different factors. But it is in that pause that we create this emotion of allowing that to happen to us. Now, this is such a great example because allowing is one of the biggest techniques that we use in the Eat to Live family, and you learn specific tools about how to use that. Like we have a very specific tool called the urge jar. I don't have one right here, but we have a very specific tool we use called the urge jar that we learn how to allow these emotions instead of eating about them. Okay. So we take Susan's example here of her dear sister who passed away. She allows that situation to be there without covering it up with food, right? So in a sense, what she's doing is she's processing those emotions. And it will take however long it takes for her to process through that because you go through all those stages of grief and, you come out of it on the other end, but allowing that to happen to yourself and allowing yourself to just have that emotion, to just feel it, have it, hold space for it, let it do what it needs to do. When we just have the emotion and we don't cover it up with food, that's when we get faster through that emotion. Not that we're trying to get through it faster, but that we're trying to process through it cleanly is what we say, like in our coaching. When we're trying to get through that emotion cleanly, like you could imagine that like dirty pain or dirty emotion would be, we just covered a bunch of nachos on top of it and Doritos and ice cream, and we made it really dirty, and it turned into this like, now we're dealing with guilt and shame and weight gain and salt weight and, water weight and all these different kinds of things. Dealing with all that on top of the fact that, none of that brings the sister back. So we still deal with the emotion of that situation. And now we have the emotion of the negative things that we did in response to that as well, right? And this is the same exact thing for anything that happens to us. And not even something serious, like just having a craving, like, you're watching TV and there's a commercial for Burger King or something, and they're doing those stupid food porn close-up burger in your face like this, and then you have a craving for something. Or it can be as simple as walking down the street and having a little olfactory, sense come to you, like you just smell something and then it is like, I need to have donuts or whatever, right? It can be as innocuous as that. Literally just a thought pops in your head. Something says, reminds you of something, and now you have to have the donuts or whatever. Those cravings, when those start, it can be as simple as that. Just having an urge to eat something. It doesn't even have to be based on anything. It could just be an urge. And when we have that urge, if we notice it, if we acknowledge it, if we name it, and then we allow it to happen to us anyways without eating the donuts. Now, there's a difference between distracting out of that emotion, the craving or the grief or whatever that might be, distracting out of that, or allowing it. And we talk so much about that in the Eat to Live family, about what is the difference there and how can we actually become effective at doing these things that create that permanent change, right? They actually create rewiring of those neurons. Actually, we weaken old neurological pathways, right? Like the pathways between those synapses, the pathways between the neurons, the cells of the brain. We weaken those old patterns and we start to make new patterns. And now you've got a really strong new pattern, right? It is in the process of doing that, continually repeating this, allowing technique that we teach in the family, that we now strengthen that new pattern and that those cravings dissipate and go away, right? So when we can learn how to deal with those emotions cleanly, that's how we will end up having those permanent changes, okay? You're welcome, Susan. You are so precious as well. I will take your Michigan hug and I'll raise you another Michigan hug. You're so welcome. Love you back. So that's in a nutshell the process. But now let me give you a little bonus here, okay? We got a bonus tip. This is actually step number 5 of this 4-part process, right? Step number 5 of 1 through 4, and that is to love. Now this is a big component of what we learn in the Eat to Live family as well, and how to love ourselves actually, because guess what? I don't know if you know this, but loving ourselves does not come very easy, right? And we have a lot of ingrained patterns against loving ourselves, right? Like I don't deserve this success. I don't deserve to lose weight. I don't deserve this, right? Like she's supposed to be thin. I'm not, kind of a thing. That's just not who I am. I'll never be there, blah, 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 right? So we have actually 2 full modules, 2 full weeks of the Eat to Live Academy are dedicated to self-love, self-confidence, body love, body confidence, gratitude, how to rewire that same exact pattern and learn how to love yourself at the same time. Because the way to our goals is to, what was I trying to say? The way to our goals is to act the way that we're going to act at our goal. So if we see our goal and we're like, oh, my goal is this weight and I want to be a nutritarian eater, and we think of how we might act if we were there, which would be like, calm, peaceful, empowered, like I just eat the nutritarian food. It's no big deal. I have no drama about it anymore, right? In order to get there and stay there, we have to act that way now on the journey. We have to learn how to act that way on the journey. And as we're on that journey, as we get there, if we're loving ourselves at the same time, that's what's strengthening that, so that when we get there, we stay there. Versus what we typically do, which is we only think about the goal. It's just about a weight. It's not about rewiring anything in our brain. It's literally just about the weight. So we will use any means necessary to get there, including beating ourselves up, including hating ourselves, all that kind of stuff. We will use any means necessary to get there. So as we're doing that on the journey, it means that when we get there, we will not hold on to it because we're going to be so stressed about whether we can keep it or not, right? And that is what creates backslide. That's what creates, you lose 50 pounds and then you gain 75 back. That's what creates that, is because we weren't practicing these things the whole time. So this is why I have created the Eat to Live family, because I want you to be practicing it the whole time until you get to your goal. And I will tell you exactly how to do all those things in all of these crazy amount of materials that I have provided you in the Eat to Live family. Okay. So I want you to join. If you want to join the Eat to Live family, it's open for registration right now. info.thewateringmouth.com/join the family. I'm so good at that now. So go ahead and join. It's only going to be open for a few more days. We would love to have you in there. Okay. Now let's go to the questions because I got to go. Let's see if there's any questions left here. Jillian says, I make my own soy yogurt. Is it okay to use that for dressings and veggie dips? I would say so. Yeah. Does it have sugar in it? Probably not. Yeah, I think that would be great. However, you just want to make sure, because I'm imagining you're using tofu maybe to make that, or soy milk. So soy milk and tofu are both processed foods, right? Comparatively to nuts and seeds. So if you're using those for dressings and dips versus nuts and seeds, you're going to miss out on something, because tofu and soy milk are both processed foods. So they're missing some things. And you're going to be missing out on the nuts and seeds and things like that, the benefits of those nuts and seeds that you would get from those foods, the whole foods, right? Not to mention the sterols and stanols. There's lots of other wonderful things in nuts and seeds that you would be missing out on. So you are in effect using calories that you would be eating in nuts and seeds or in avocado. You're using those calories for a dressing or a dip. So you're kind of pushing aside some of that nutrition for a lower bit of nutrition. So I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying that that's not something you want to do all the time, right? So something to consider. But yeah, making your own soy yogurt is great. It's just one of those foods that it's pretty processed. So you want to, you're already taking something that was already processed. Unless you make it out of cashews, which is a little bit different, but still cashews don't have a ton of nutrition in them either, but you're then processing those quite a bit into something else. So just think about that, the processing involved, rather as opposed to eating the whole foods kind of thing. We just keep those quantities of things down to that 5-10% of our diet, right? Oh yeah. Oh, my mom mentioned, Lauren, keep veggies a long time with a food saver. You can open, use, and reseal. So that's one of those vacuum things. She got that for her husband because he vacuum seals a lot of meats and things like that. But you can do that with veggies too. So it comes with the bags and then it will vacuum seal them. That might actually be a really cool idea for you. Good idea, Mom. Thanks. Oh yeah, red cabbage last. That's great. What other questions do we have? Free Spirit asks, when you are making your own beans, do you need to find organic dry beans? Yeah, you want to. You try to do as organic as much as possible. Dr. Furman recommends that you would want to start with the organic dry beans. Just want to reiterate that Jackie said the family is so affordable and you get so much for your money. Definitely well worth it. And Deleste says worth the price of admission many times over. Just had to repeat that too. Yeah, Pamela, taking time to do deep breathing and help release the negative emotion, and crying too. That's right. That's all part of processing those emotions for sure. Okay, that's all we got, friends. Oh, good. I dehydrate, can, and vacuum seal, then freeze a lot. Good. So do more of that. Oh, we have one more question here from Sherry. Can you recommend a healthiest tortilla? My husband misses burritos so much, but I think flour is not recommended. Yeah, you want to find the Ezekiel brand if you can. That's the very best one that you can find. I think Ezekiel is probably the best brand for all the things they have. Actually, at my Whole Foods here, but I live in a big city. I live in Vegas, so you might not be able to find them where you live, but they have lots of different products. They have English muffins, they have pitas, tortillas, the bread itself. They make all those products too. So Ezekiel bread is, I think, the best one for as far as like Whole Foods, kind of a thing goes. Also, if you, my other favorite brand is Engine 2, which is by Rip Esselstyn, who is the son of, Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn. So all of their recipes are pretty good too, but they do like low fat. So as a nutritarian, you can use any of their recipes, but you want to add a little fat in. But their products, they have a lot of really great products at the store. So that's actually the Engine 2 brand. If you can find it, it's tough to find. But the Engine 2 brand of veggie stock is the one that I like the most because it's really actually low sodium and they don't have any oil in it. Interestingly, veggie stock often has oil in it. Like, who would have known, right? Even the low sodium brands tend to be pretty dang high in sodium. So consider those things. But yeah, I definitely think that the Ezekiel tortillas are the best. But let me just say, Sherry, I don't like Ezekiel tortillas. They're too dry. They're not like flour tortillas at all. They're very dense. But hopefully he'll like them. You can warm them up a little bit. That makes them a little bit more pliable. But a lot of these things, when you get rid of the processed foods, like for instance, we just finally got rid of vegan butter in my household today. Today, I know, that recent, right? But when you get rid of those things that we use for flavoring, the other foods are not so attractive anymore. Like I try to think of like bean pasta without butter or olive oil or anything like that. Like, oh, super dry. No thanks, not interested. Same thing with like, if we just had regular spaghetti or something like wheat spaghetti or something, if we didn't have butter or oil, I'd be like, no thanks. I mean, I might eat a few bites of it, then I would get sick of it. Same thing with potatoes. Like I steamed some potatoes for the little twins the other day. And I would find myself eating some, but I would eat like 3. And then I'm like, ugh, these are bland, kind of a thing. So when we get rid of those processed foods, things that, used to be really good to us, they're not as good anymore. And even if you sort of overeat on them for a little while because you miss the tortillas or you miss something else, there comes a point where when your diet gets closer and closer to nutritarian, those things just get more and more boring. Something to think about. Chris says, okay, just joined. Yay! Is there a way to join yearly after the first month if I choose to stay for the year? Chris, we might be able to work something out. We might be able to work something out. Just let me know and we might figure that out for you. Okay. I'm so excited. Yay, Chris. I'm so glad you joined. I hope you love it. We can't wait to see you in there. We have so many people that joined already. And Adele mentioned, Sherry, maybe try a burrito bowl instead. Yeah, that's a really good idea too, right? Yay, Jackie is celebrating Chris joining. I'm so excited. I hope to see you all in there too. I know so many of you are in the family already though. And Pamela says, have a happy twin birthday tomorrow with my mom and family. Yes, I know, we're so excited. My husband is actually in town this week too. So it's all good. What do I think of intermittent fasting, asks Roxanne. I totally love it. I think it's great. I don't like fasting for weight loss at all. So I would not do intermittent fast. Well, I would not do fasting for weight loss. So I wouldn't do extended periods of fast for weight loss. You only want to use fasting for sort of medical things after you're already your goal weight. But intermittent fasting, fabulous. Awesome. It's great for weight loss too. Technically, right? But some people will end up overeating because they're making up for the time that they didn't eat. If you don't know what intermittent fasting is, it's basically where you restrict the time that you eat during one 24-hour period to 16 hours, 8 hours. So there's 16 hours of fasting and 8 hours of eating. So you would do 2 or 3 meals within that 8-hour time period, and the rest of the time you wouldn't eat. Best way to intermittent fast for detox purposes and for the health benefits that it can give you is to do it in the morning. To eat in the morning and to fast at night. So what you would do typically is if you're going to do a 16-8 fast, meaning you're fasting for 16 hours, eating during 8-hour window, you would start eating at say 7 or 8 in the morning, and you would finish eating by 3-4 p.m. at night. And then that would be it, or in the afternoon, and that would be it. So you might do 2 meals in that time period. You might do 3 meals in that time period. I like to do 3 meals in that time period sometimes, and then sometimes I like to do 2 meals. It doesn't really matter, but it is best to do it earlier in the day if you can manage, and then stop eating by 3 or 4 p.m. a lot of people find that this throws off their family for their expectation of what dinner is supposed to be. And I say to that, well, then just shift what your expectation of dinner is, right? Is dinner about actually eating the same food as your family and being there at the same exact time doing the same thing? Or is dinner about being together and enjoying their company? And, it doesn't necessarily have to be about eating the same exact meal. You might get flack for a little while, but people get used to things when we change our patterns, right? So here we go. That's it. That's it, guys. I think that's it. We don't have any other questions. I'm not sure what you're mentioning here, BH, but we don't eat animal products on this lifestyle, so I won't go to there. So I want to say thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I always love your questions. You guys always have such wonderful questions and interaction. I am sending so much love to Susan, and I'm sending so much love to the rest of you as well. And thank you to those of you who joined the family while we were here. This is so amazing. And if you're interested, the web address is down here, thewateringmouth.com, info.thewateringmouth.com/join the family. My Vanna White kind of thing. And we would love to see you in there. We're going to be closing up registration really, really soon. So hopefully we'll see you in there. And if not, it's going to wait. You're going to have to wait at least a couple months to get back in with us. Is that it? I think that's it. Thanks for being here. Giving you all so much love, and we hope to see you in the family. Otherwise, we'll see you around on social media somewhere, sometime soon. And happy Tuesday afternoon, everyone. All right. Have a good one. See you in the next video. Bye.